Welcome to the Ware School Committee for Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up, approval of warrants and payroll for Wednesday, February 25th, 2006.
I move that we approve the warrants and payroll for Wednesday. What day did you
February
say?
25th.
Today's the 25th.
February 11th.
So February 11th.
Oh, no, warrants and payroll is today.
Yeah,
Yes, February 25th. I move that.
Second.
All in favor, Julie?
Aye.
Aye for myself, Mel.
Aye.
Approval of minutes for Wednesday, February 11th, 2026, regular business meeting.
There we go. Now I'm going to approve the minutes for Wednesday, February 11th, regular business meeting.
Second.
All in favor, Julie?
Aye.
Aye for myself, Mel.
Aye.
Now we will have the report from the student rep, Lexi Russell.
Good evening, this is the SMK School Committee update. The SMK Student Council would like to thank everybody that has donated to the food drive. The boxes are overflowing and we are very eager to coordinate the delivery to the Jubilee cupboard. The smallest acts of kindness can make the biggest impact. On Friday, February 27th, the students and staff will gather for this month's all-school assembly. At this time, students will be recognized for being accepting and inclusive of others. Students will also be introduced to March's character trait, responsibility. The SMK will be recognizing Read Across America Week during the week of March 2nd. A Spirit Week has been planned to celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday and the love of reading. Monday, March 2nd will be Fox and Socks, which is wear silly socks and shoes. Tuesday, March 3rd, which is Cat in the Hat, wear your favorite hat. Wednesday, March 4th, Wacky Wednesday, wear mismatched clothes. Thursday, March 5th, Green Eggs and Ham, wear anything green. Friday, March 6th, dress as your favorite book character. The second session of SMK's after-school program is in full swing. 40 students in grades K through 3 are currently attending. We are offering the following fun activities: Lego Literacy, Little Critics, Winter Wonderland, Letter Writing, Jam Brett, Famous History, and Action. This is a grant-funded program that focuses on literacy, leadership, and perseverance. This is the Ware Middle School update. We are in the process of reviewing the MCAS and DIBELS data and using that to help us invite students to participate in the ELA MCAS tutoring sessions. Be on the lookout for more information over the next couple of weeks. The upcoming dates. This Friday, progress reports will be distributed to students. Next Friday, March 6th, is our annual committee reading day in honor of Dr. Seuss's week. Also, next Friday, March 6th, Mrs. Mieznicki's social studies class will be participating in a living wax museum. Each student had to research a noteworthy American from between 1776 to 1975. Students will bring them alive by dressing up as their chosen historical figure and creating a living wax museum. Those students' parents are invited to attend this event taking place at 1:30. We want to remind everyone to please send students in school in appropriate warm weather gear suitable for outdoor recesses. This is the Ware Junior Senior High School Committee update. Congratulations to Ms. Sears, who was named acting principal by Mr. Woods earlier this month. Preparations continue for the annual Winter Carnival, which will be held on Friday, March 13th and Saturday, March 14th. A schedule will be shared when finalized. Last night, the Ware Junior Senior High School boys varsity basketball team defeated Renaissance in the preliminary round of the MIAA 2026 Division 5 state tournament. With a final score of 61-29, the team will now advance to round 32, facing Boston English on Thursday, February 26 at 6:30 p.m. at Boston English.
Nice.
This Friday, the Ware Junior Senior High School girls varsity basketball team will host Neighborhood House Charter School at 7 p.m. in the MIAA Division 5 state tournament round 32. Ware is seated 16th, while Neighborhood House Charter School is seated 17th. Mr. Shamgosian, the high school's athletic director, notified the schools this week that seniors Jack Goodrow and Brady Guimond have been invited to play in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame 2026 All-Star Game representing Class C. 60 seniors were selected to play in a total of 3 games. The Class C game will take place Friday, March 20th at 5:30 p.m. On the Jerry Colangio, if I pronounced that correctly, Court of Dreams at the Hall of Fame. Amazing work to Jack and Brady. Next week, March 4th and 6th, Ms. Witherow, the Ware Junior Senior High School Students Council Advisor, will be accompanying 16 students to Hyannis to participate in the 2026 MASC Annual Conference. While there, attendees will participate in a variety of leadership development activities and networks with student leaders from across Massachusetts to learn the best practices for their student councils. The 21st Century Collaborative for Education has started back up for the spring session. The program has added flag football and dance club to their offerings and continues with Lego Club, band, fitness, art club, and Dungeons and Dragons. Currently, the after-school program has approximately 50 students enrolled in the program, which is one of the highest enrollments. The after-school program operates Monday through Thursday from 2:30 to 4:30. Any students interested in joining should see Donna in the main office. Term 3 midterm grades will go live in iPass this Friday, February 27th. And that is all.
Any questions, comments?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we will do the budget update with Andy.
Good evening. You have in your packets the update as of today. The projected quote-unquote deficit has gone up slightly. Thank you very much, Old Man Winter, for that. We still have, if you look at the funds that will still end in a projected balance, just less than what it was last month. There's been another change also. DESE has released, so we've updated the most recent circuit breaker funding that we're projected to receive this year. Statute requires that we only carry over the prior year receipts, so you'll actually look and see we're using more circuit breaker funds this year than we originally did from last month. That's because if you carry over more than what you're allowed, that delta goes to the town. So, so it's just it changes the pockets from where the monies are going to come from. It's no negative impact. It's just we have to follow the rules of circuit breaker by the state. Other than that, the other thing was that as of right now, there was a projected deficit in the sped transportation, but we've already met, and the goal, and most likely that is not going to be the case. There have been some changes both in and out of students needing and not needing transportation anymore. So when I presented the proposed, or I should say the update, it just shows a deficit based on those projections, but in full disclosure, it's looking like that won't be the case. You have your graphic bar chart in the back, but I can also answer any questions you might have regarding anything in the report.
How much do you think we're going to take for a hit on heating oil this year?
Well, I mean, it's tough to say because it's also dependent on usage. So we've locked in at a good rate. It's just a matter now of the amount of gallons that we end up using. So
Sooner it gets warmer, the better off
exactly.
we'll be. For next year's budget, I know you've been working on everything, but I guess my question is, what can we expect from the state? Is it same, less? I know it's all over the place.
We're back
It's
to
all over the place.
We're back to being hold harmless in the sense that because our foundation enrollment is decreasing, we're only getting the $75 or whatever the amount is per pupil foundation enrollment increase in our Chapter 70.
It used to be 150, right?
What's that?
They used to be 150, I think it was.
Yeah, I could be, I always have 75 on the mind. In addition to that, unfortunately, we've seen an increase in our choice sending. So that's also going to be a hit on what we have available from the town for funds that stay here. So it's, knock on wood, and our goal obviously being for, as I always like to say, enhanced level service, but it's going to be tight. And don't even get started on the health insurance stuff.
Yeah. Any questions, comments?
I mean, I wish I had something to say to that, but I mean, what do you say to, we have students leaving the district that we should be retaining and all of that? I mean, that's not a question for you. That was rhetorical.
No, it's, no.
I guess we're good. Thank you very much, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Report from the interim superintendent, Michael Wood.
Yes, speaking about weather and heat and all those things, we certainly have had quite a beginning of the week with the snowstorm on Monday and the aftermath of it on Tuesday morning and a little bit of it this morning. And so we're in New England and trying to do the best we can. Monday was, I think, a pretty easy and clear conversation. Took up most of my Sunday talking to different players in the conversation. But I think it was the right thing to do, and Tuesday morning, the same thing. I mean, I was really worried about windswept parking lots, and again, the decision always includes our students, our faculty, and parents able to transport their kids, so, making sure that they're able to get their cars safely cleaned off and ready for the road is always part of my plan, as well as the buses being able to manage the roads. This morning, tough decision, I have to say. The timing of it couldn't have been worse. Again, we're on the chain starting at 4 o'clock in the morning, going back and forth, and it's very hard to make a call
Before the first flake flies.
before the first flake flies.
Yeah, it's hard.
Flake flies, there we go. But did the best we can. I think everybody, made into school safely. I always am concerned about that. But it was definitely tough going in different spots, and kudos to the town to get the roads cleared and salted and sanded and so forth, so that our buses could roll safely and our kids and staff could get here safely. To that end also, I can't thank enough Bill Alderman, George King, and Joe Vadnais, and all of our custodians for their cleaning of the sidewalks and the icicles, and everything else has gone into this winter weather. It's been really a critical part. I should add, speaking of the heat, our buildings are getting older, and we've definitely had some issues with some pumps in at least two of the buildings, and between replacing them, working through the weekend to get parts repaired, it's been quite the winter in the last 4 weeks or so. So really pleased and proud of these guys to do the kind of work that they do, and they come in at a drop of a hat. Which is just amazing. So, it's really good. Our school administrators, you've heard about this updated previously. We met with our consultant, I guess she is, from the state regarding our civil rights audit. So we met with her today, did the exit interview, or sort of a precursor to the exit interview in terms of some of the findings that she may have, and so forth. So she's got some work to do, and still has some people that she wants to meet with before she finishes up. But I think the goal is to get a report in June, maybe May, somewhere in that point. And you heard about our boys and our girls teams, great representatives of our high school, doing just a fabulous job. I was able to get to Greenfield and watch the boys play there in one of the early tournament games. Just did a fabulous job. And just for your FYI, I'm out of the office. I'm out of the office for procedure on Monday, so if you need me, don't call.
Best of luck with that.
Thank you. I plan on being back on Tuesday, so it should be all right.
Any questions, comments? The only thing I'd like to add on snow removal
Yeah.
is the night of the policeman fireman game, because we had a lot of snow before that.
Yeah.
That the parking lots were pretty good, everything was pretty good, that they had done a good job considering how much we got that morning and the game was that night.
Yeah.
So that the place was ready to host the event. And you're wondering who I'm looking for, it's, I know Betty Brown's not here, but Megan was also there, and the two of them just put on just a great event, and hopefully they raised a lot of money, and it was just a good time. It was
That's
just
great.
a good time, and it's kind of nice to see. The place was packed.
That's great.
Place was packed, and it was kind of nice to see like that. So that was the extra comment on snow removal, I guess. With that, we'll move on to the report from the Ware Middle School Principal, Kimberly Thompson.
All right. So we had to put some extra slides in here. Well, thank you. Mr. Wood had asked the administrators to take a moment just to talk about their buildings. I'm going to set the bar really low for everybody else who follows me. This is my, so in thinking about how I wanted to approach this tonight, I thought we talk a lot in our leadership meetings, our operation meetings, on how we're tackling our strategic plan. So, thought I'd be funny by saying this is the middle school in a minute. I think I actually have 10, according to Mr. Wood. So, here we go. So, some of the key pieces that I think are important and that we really instill in our building is communication, whether it's with parents, with students, with staff, working with the administrators and staff from other buildings, right? Using those resources. Communication is key. Without it, we're not successful. So communication has been a key component for me. I send building updates out every week. We get as much out on Remind. Teachers are sending information out. We have progress reports coming out soon. It's key that teachers let parents know if their child is struggling, so we're asking that teachers send that information out ahead. It's not a surprise when they walk through their door, you know, on Friday, trying to hide that progress report or saying they didn't get it. So we have I would not say it's unwritten, it's a written rule that teachers contact parents prior to those progress reports going home if there's an issue. Attendance across the district has been a focus for us. So last year, when we looked at our attendance and our chronically absent students, the middle school was averaging, our daily average was 88% to 93% of our students were absent daily. In a small building, that's 20 or 30 kids, right? 20 to 30 students. I feel like we are on track to increase our attendance, which is what we described in our strategic plan, by 5%, which means right now we are currently averaging 91 to 95% attendance rate daily, which averages out to 12 to 23 students on any given day that could be out. It's an increase, we're getting there. And the way we have tackled this, it's all hands on deck. Teachers are sending messages out, like, hey, I noticed so-and-so's not here today, is everything okay? Our school nurse, after 3 days, is contacting. Mr. Alanis and I look at that attendance list every day. I look and say, wait, they weren't here 3 days last week, we're making phone calls. We have done some home visits, right? We have kids who are just not showing up, you can't get a parent on the phone. We've shown up, knocked on their door. I do think that's the reason it's all hands on deck. Everybody is vested in this, making sure their kids are here every day. We can't change our MCAS scores, our DIBEL scores, their reading fluency, their math fact fluency, without them physically being in front of us. So every day they're not here, it just is, the gap gets bigger in their skills. So attendance has been a super focus for us. And I do feel like we've got a pretty good system in place right now.
Do you want questions at the end, or?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Sounds good. Is there one grade that have you noticed that one grade is better or worse than any other grade, 4, 5, and 6, or is it pretty even?
I think the grade with the highest rate of absences is 6th.
Okay.
6th grade.
The
4th
reason
grade is pretty reliable. They're there. I think what happens is when 6th grade, parents, those kids can go to the bus stop on their own. They can get on the bus. They can get off the bus without an adult present. A 4th
Right.
grader can't. And a 5th grader, it's questionable. We don't do that. So.
Right, that's the main reason I ask, is because kind of that, by the time they come to you in 4th, by the time they leave you in 6th, they've made that crossover between my parents are responsible to get me to school and I'm responsible to get me to school.
Right.
So I don't know, I'm not saying I know the answer, I'm just saying that if we've noticed that there's a drop-off in 6th, maybe there's, I don't know, some kind of lesson or class or something that kind of presents those 6th graders with the data of like, here is the data on 6th graders with attendance above 95%. This is how they score on tests. This is where they end up in high school classes. Like, yes, you are 11 or 12 or however old these kids are, but you're at the age now where these habits that you're establishing, now that you're kind of in charge of getting yourself to school, that if you're not used to it in 6th grade, you're going to be even worse in 7th grade and 8th and from there. So I didn't know if there was some kind of direct instruction that could be done with 6th graders, kind of laying that out for them in a non-threatening, but like, very matter-of-fact way of like, you are establishing habits. Let's try to establish better habits, and these are the results of the habits that you might.
So some of the things we are doing that does seem to matter at the beginning of end of each month. So from March 1st, anyone who had perfect attendance in the building is posted in the hallway. We do it for staff too, in the faculty room. And I can tell you, kids get really upset. Wait, I didn't miss a day. I'm like, oh, let's go look. Oh, I did. And so kids are noticing their names are not up there. They're also recognized. We call them all down. We take a picture. They go in our newsletter. They get put into a raffle, and someone wins a Dunkin' Donuts card or a McDonald's gift card. We've seen an increase in the number of kids who are here every day, but we still run into the fact that if a 4th grader doesn't come to school and it's been a few days, and when they come in, I'm like, hey, where were you? Oh, my mom's clock didn't go off. And my mom says I can't go out of the house without an adult, and I couldn't get her up. Right? Sorry, moms. So we really can't penalize, but still they're not there, right? It's either you're in school or you're not in school. So we've tried to put some incentives in place, and we have had that conversation. I think we presented, it might have been last year, if you miss so many days per year, by the time you graduate, you've missed a full year from kindergarten until, just, I think it was like 9 or 10 days a year. You'd miss almost a full school year by the time you got to your senior year. So that's what we're trying to tackle is lessening that. But making kids, another aspect is kids have to feel like people want them at school. So relationship building is really important. And that's something that we focus on in the middle school as well. I know every school does, but making sure kids are greeted, when they come to the classroom. Teachers are remembering one small thing about them. By the time we get to the end of September, hopefully, there's still a couple kids I forget, I know their names, so I can at least greet someone by name, hey, or I remember something. I think if the more we do that, they feel like they're important, they come into our schools, they want to be there.
What is your percentage to be considered chronic absenteeism?
It's 18 or more absences.
For the 180 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 10%.
Got it.
Yeah, it's 10, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So data, So I think Mr. Alanis put it in there, but we rely on data. We have built a really healthy assessment schedule. Sometimes it feels like it's too much, honestly. You know, we do a fall, winter, spring assessment in our iReady. We look at that data. We use that to target the instruction that kids are getting. We dibble the same schedule. Anyone who falls, dibbles is for reading fluency and reading skills. So anybody who falls in red or yellow, they're not at grade level. We progress monitor, and we make sure that we're following and looking exactly where they're falling apart and providing some additional instruction. And we're looking at MCAS. We spent a great deal of time in the fall looking at the MCAS scores, really understanding where our kids fell apart. So one of our discoveries was all our open responses were AI scored and not scored by a human. Mm-hmm. So we started diving into that because we were looking at scores, and some kids in 6th grade, they have 5,000 characters, and they used all 5,000. And they got 0 points for conventions, which is punctuation, capitalization. And they got maybe 1 or 2 points because they never really answered the question. They just wrote a lot. So identifying that at the beginning of the school year has really been a focus in classrooms, making sure that not only when you see a question, you have to make sure, are there 2 parts to the question? You answered the first part. Did you answer the second part? How did you do it? Going back and looking for context clues. Like, how do you know that's the answer? So we've been trying to, you know, bolster their writing and their understanding of what these questions are looking for. But that all comes from looking at the data we have. We use I use Open Architects a lot. It's a program that we have in district. It breaks everything down. I can tell you who my bubble kids are, who are those kids that needed one more question, or maybe their open response just needed another point. And so we can start targeting and grouping kids so we know where their skills are. We are also working with Department of Ed. We have a PRISM 3 grant. We're looking at new curriculum for ELA for the fall. It'll be grades 4 through 6. But that's part of also making sure that our kids are provided with what they need to be successful. But all that data helps in what we're looking for. We know that our writing skills are weak. We know what the curriculum needs to focus on. Questions?
Can I ask another question about that?
Yes.
2 questions. What does the follow-up instruction look like for kids that are behind on the dibbles? Is it word attack? Is it... Because it's mostly, I assume you do the fluency piece and then ask those couple of comprehension questions.
Absolutely.
So if they're falling behind on the fluency, obviously they would need a different intervention than if they're reading it fine but not be able to answer the question. So right. I was just curious what that looks like.
We're doing fluency drills, honestly, giving them, they're reading a lot. We're giving them, most of it's because they're timed. You get kids who just, right, they just want to be perfect. They don't want to make a mistake. So they go really slowly and carefully. So we've been using a number of different things, fluency drills, blanking on what else we're doing, but there are other interventions that are in place for kids.
Okay. Second question, when you are looking at this new curriculum for 4, 5, and 6 for ELA, obviously there's no silver bullet, like one program's going to be really strong in this and another program's going to be really strong in this.
Yes.
Obviously for grades 4, 5, and 6, phonics is not like a
Correct.
Focus. So, you mentioned the writing. Is there like something specific that you're hoping the strength is for the curriculum that you choose?
So writing has been a focus for us. We're trying to do the legwork. We want a consistent curriculum K through 6. So everything that we are reviewing supports that grade level. And what we're running into is most publishers are K through 5. 6 is this whole little outlier, or the publisher has a different curriculum for 6, 7, and 8, which limits what we're going to have access to. But
Okay.
writing has been something. we've thought more about, and I don't know where it was, Mel, I think you and I had talked about, or at some point, the Vermont Writing
Collaborative.
Project and empowering
essay.
writers. So we've been looking at that as well. So if we can't find a really strong writing component in an ELA curriculum, how are we going to support that? So those are some other programs we've been looking at.
Yeah, the painted essay has been a lifesaver in my school, at least. I mean, our writing scores went from most kids getting zeros or ones to most kids getting twos and threes. So I would recommend that. For the younger kids, though, the Empowering Writers is really great because it's a lot of, it focuses a lot on informational writing versus narrative writing, and it really kind of covers all of that. And a lot of programs you can get that are pre-K that are K to 5, they kind of phase out the phonics
They do.
around third and transition into more like grammar stuff for third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah, that's it.
And we're learning a lot about this curriculum. The Department of Ed is archiving curriculum that we were interested in, so it's really limiting. The feel is that at some point, and I know other states across the country, their Department of Educations are selecting a ELA curriculum, and that's what everyone's using. It feels like we might be going in that direction. I'm not sure, but I think we're trying to choose a curriculum that is going to be interesting to kids, right? It has to be interesting. So some of it's really not.
Agreed.
Lack of a better word. But yeah, so that is what we're working on right now.
Okay.
Culture. So culture has been, it's a buzzword, right? But if the feel of a school isn't one that's inviting to parents, to students, to volunteers and visitors, it's a problem. So we work really hard to make sure that our teachers feel important in our building, right? They are our resource. Our paras are the most important people, well, paras and teachers, right? But our paras support some of our neediest students. So we do a lot of work in the building making sure that they feel respected and welcomed, and there's breakfast for them sometimes. There's coffee showing up. There's little things that just make them know that they're important to what we do every day. Making sure that there's instructional support. Leadership has been working with Mr. Wood, already planning out what our PD next year is going to look like. So we have a focus, we have a vision, and it's going to be coherent. We're not just going to say, okay, this week, this PD, we're doing this. We want it to have a system. We want it to be important for everyone. I think that's it for that one. My little blurbs, I had this idea in my head, so here we are. So culture and collaboration, right? Collaboration for the building is key to the success of our building. Again, prioritizing teachers, making sure they have resources, communicating. I have worked really hard. This is my 5th year in the building. I will say it was in really tough shape when I stepped in. There were a lot of teachers. I think I had to hire 10 teachers the first year just when I got in the door. There were 10 positions open. And I stepped in at beginning of August, so that was a lot. And we had a lot, the teachers who were there, right? It was a little PTSD. They hadn't been treated well. So again, it was back to rebuilding culture. I'm happy to report we're at a point where we make decisions together as a team. I ultimately make the final decision, but we can have some pretty intense conversations in my grade levels, in PLC. Teachers come to my office in the morning before school or after school with concerns. We figure it out. We work together to make sure that we figure all of it out. I don't always have the answer, and I tell them that, but I'll figure out who does or how we get it. Because everything we do has to make kids and the students in our building successful. So the better we work together as a team, and the better off our kids are, the better off our families are, the better off our communities are. So I take a lot of pride in making sure that everybody feels supported, that they have a voice in the building. And I think it's working, because we can have some hard conversations. I recently shared with the 6th grade team a model change for next year. They didn't like it, but we're working together on what that's going to look like and how that's going to roll out. They're part of the process. It's not just top down. I'm in the trenches with them. I'm making sure I understand what their needs are and how we're going to meet their needs. Questions?
Question. If I walked into, how many 4th grade classrooms do you have?
4.
If I walked into each of the 4th grade classrooms in pretty quick succession, would I see the same lessons happening? Like, do the 4th grade teachers plan together and teach the same lesson, or are they all just teaching the same standard but in their own way?
They're using the same curriculum. So my 4th grade team does meet together. They have the same planning time, but they meet weekly, and it's a common planning time. They sit together. We make sure in grade level or that planning meeting that they're in line with each other. Some may be off a few days. If they're using, right now we're using Wonders, but for the most part, they are succinct. They are in line with each other. Does that make sense?
Yes, and
Yeah.
then with iReady, obviously they're all doing the same thing, because it's
They
like
are.
week 2, day 1,
Yes.
week 2, day 3.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And really, this is our second year with the iReady Math. So we're learning what we can kind of jump over, where we have to focus, because sometimes you need a little extra time in the middle. They've just started fractions in 4th grade. And so we piloted with our math coach. He did it was a fraction, it was pretty much the end of the year fraction test to see, so 4th grade took the end of 3rd grade's test to see what they retained, where they were struggling. We looked at all of that data, figured out what they were missing, did a little remediation, and then we tested them 3 weeks into their unit, and most of them gained at least 50%, which was good. But we needed to jumpstart them because they were missing something. Fractions is, one of those things that they need to know.
3rd grade is tough, right?
3rd grade is tough.
You learn fractions, you use multiplication, division, how to
Right.
tell time to the nearest 5 minutes,
And if we don't
measurement,
have-
like
right.
3rd grade math is bananas.
It is, and if we don't have that foundation, so we were noticing what was missing. What did we have to kind of jump over, skip in the iReady Math curriculum to get them kind of back on track,
Okay.
right? Because it's teaching. You can check a box, you can teach everything in that curriculum. That curriculum is based off of, I'm going to be close but wrong, like 245 days of school. We only go to school 180, that's without snow days. It's, think
Yeah.
all the time that we're not here.
No, I'm really glad to hear you say that, because unfortunately with iReady, some schools and some teachers, they see week 3, day 1, I taught it, check.
No.
Week
Yeah.
3, day 2, I taught it, and the kids are behind, like trying to run to catch up, and they're just like, sorry, week 2, day 3, let's go.
And we can't.
I'm glad to hear you say that you're acknowledging the insane pace that some of the math curriculum takes, and that you're accommodating for it.
And the good news is through the PD that we take part in with iReady, teachers are creating questions. So when we see them, this last time our half PD day, we had a consultant that was in. She walked through the math classrooms, and then teachers could ask questions after, right? Hey, I'm in Unit 3. They aren't getting this. What can I remove? What can I move to, and how do I remediate? So it was just reminding, like the teacher's toolbox in iReady has some great resources. Sometimes we forget about them, right? The digital pieces are important. But we've been struggling a lot with how much kids are on computers.
Yeah.
And trying to roll that
It's a
back.
huge piece.
Yeah, so we've been limiting. We don't, iReady on their My Pathway, which is the computer program that when they take that diagnostic in the fall, it sets where they are. And so now they're working at their level and they're building their skills. So you could have in a classroom of 23, someone working, their program sets them at the beginning of 3rd grade. Some might be at the beginning of 5th grade. It depends where they scored. And why was I saying that? Oh boy, that's not good.
How much time they spend on computers?
How much time
because- yeah.
So we no longer, you're supposed to hit so many minutes, 90 minutes a week. Now it's, you need to complete a lesson. A lesson should take between 15 and 20 minutes in one math lesson, one ELA lesson. So it's not so much about the time that they spend, it's completion of lessons, because that lesson is going to help reinforce a skill that they're missing, or they still need to reinforce, to develop. So that's.
I'm glad to hear you say that you're aware of the time on the computers, because that's another pitfall of iReady is it becomes, in some classes it becomes a babysitter, let's be honest. And in other classes it just becomes the easy thing, right? So like, you're not with a teacher, you're not with me in my small group, so you're on the computer, versus working with manipulatives or at a different center. So
Right.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah. In 6th grade, it becomes a struggle. They don't want to do it.
Yes. Well, by the time our 5th graders in our school fight against iReady like crazy, because they've been doing it every day of their life since they were in kindergarten, and they're just like, I'm over it.
Yeah. And they figured out how to get their minutes just by clicking. I'm like, wait, but that's not valid information. I know, but I did it. I'm like, oh, all right, we're having a chat. So expectations. From the day I stepped in, right, my background was always, those really small people. And so 4th, 5th, and 6th, I knew I liked 4th grade. 5th grade, I was like, let's figure this out. 6th grade, I've learned I like them till about January. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens. Their hormones hit. I don't know. It's all kinds of drama. But one of the things I realized is our kids aren't kids anymore, right? Technology has become such a part, it's like it should be just surgically attached to their hands. They don't know how to pick up a phone and call a friend. They don't go out to play half the time. So what we did for all our night events, and I know you've all heard me say this before, we developed behavior contracts. We have 3 simple things, right? You have to be respectful. You can't physically, right, with your language. You cannot physically harm anybody. And, no work refusal. Not homework, but in school, right? You have to give your best. Our message is always, you can do hard things. It's hard. Work is hard. Life is hard, but we're going to figure it out. But the behavior contracts, which got some pushback at the beginning from staff, from parents. I had parents call me and say, your expectations are too high. Literally. And I was like, no. I said, we're just asking your kids to come and be present, right? Let's focus. So behavior contracts became, and still are, the wave of how you get to attend a night event. Every 2 weeks before a night event, it goes home, parents sign it, kids sign it. They find out the day before, right? If you followed all of these 3 very small rules, right? They're like, yes. Then you come. And our night events have become so pleasant. Kids are there, they're having fun. But the other thing we did was we made them cell phone free. That was a whole nother challenge. Kids would come, and I was collecting phones, putting sticky notes on, putting them away. And they're like, well, what do you have to call my mom? What if I need her? I said, oh, I have a phone. I have her number. Well, there are excuses. So the first couple of events, it was very traumatic. It was PTSD. But now, kids come, and they're kids. They're running around with friends, they're dancing, they're laughing, they're having a great time. They're not worried about who's taking a picture and posting it on social media, right? For good or for evil, honestly. So those are some things, those expectations are every day. They think they're just behavior contacts. Close your ears. It's every day. We expect kindness and respect, right? We ask staff to be respectful of our students, to build relationships. Oh, they really did it. So, are you guys ready? So, my last little bubble is student voice, something we worked on in our strategic plan. You can come up. And student voice for us is really student-led learning. We want kids to ask questions. We don't want teachers standing in front of kids just lecturing, kind of like what I'm doing now, and I'm sorry. We want kids to ask questions. We want to know what they already know, so we're not teaching something, we're moving them forward. And what a better time than to present our Student Leadership Council. Do you have, like, titles? Are you, like, the president, or are you the...
I'm VP, she's president.
Oh, I have the Ware Middle School Student Leadership Council president and vice president here to talk about to give their representation of student voice. So that's all you just have. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Good evening, I'm Charlotte Huff, Vice President of Leadership Council.
Hello, I am Adeline Galeskis, President of Leadership Council.
We are here tonight to tell you about the Leadership Council's great ideas.
A few weeks ago we had a dance and we earned $580.
In December, we had a food drive for Jubilee Cupboard. It was very successful. We got a thank you letter in the mail a few weeks later.
We are having a lucky raffle in March. So far we have a sports basket, gaming basket, movie night basket, and an art basket.
Most funds go to WMS Field Day.
We pay for all field day equipment and snacks like cotton candy and snow cones.
On Wednesday, April 29th, every year we do a Leadership Council campus cleanup for Earth Day.
We also do a parents versus kids basketball game and we earn a lot from that.
We don't just raise money, we help around the school, like at Step Up Day and the block party.
Also, for our reading day, we greet the readers on Community Reading Day.
Good job.
Awesome.
So my last pop-up on here, every year I try and come up with a quote that kind of signifies what our focus is for the year. Given our last few years and the turmoil, I selected it, so if you walk through the building, every classroom door has the teacher's name and has our quote. I took the hands off because it didn't match my colors. But we've used Helen Keller this year. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. It works for students, it works for our teachers, it works for our families, it works for our community. So that's really been our message all year. And that's it. Do you have any questions?
No, but thank you. And thank you to your Leadership Council for coming up and giving us that update. Thank you so
That
much.
was great.
We appreciate all that you guys do for the middle school. Thank you so much.
So we don't have Miss Muzeki?
Here's Nikki.
Mizeki?
She was there. She's the advisor.
Okay,
She
so
was
she's
there.
the advisor?
Yes.
Okay. New business, agreement with the acting principal contract.
Yes. So I shared with you that I've appointed Megan Sears as the acting principal. This is the actual agreement that we have. I told you that night that it was still being reviewed by the attorney. He hadn't gotten back to me at the time of the meeting that we had. So this is the actual agreement. And the only difference from what I talked about with you, based on, attorneys are about protecting their clients, right? So the only difference is, and I have reviewed this with Ms. Sears, and she's in agreement with it. My big thing is, as an interim superintendent, that I want whoever sits in this chair next year to have a full complement of the leadership team. And my goal is to have a principal ready to hit the ground running in July. And so until we can resolve things, this contract is actually through June of June 30th, and then wherever we are in resolving matters, I will meet with Ms. Sears and have that conversation about successor contract, and she's in agreement with that.
Okay.
And understands why we have to do it that way.
Great.
Any questions? Comments? All right, I'll make the motion to accept the contract that's put forth Ware Public Schools acting principal for Macon Sears as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aaron?
Aye.
Julie?
Abstain.
Aye for myself. Aye.
Aye.
Mel?
Aye.
Okay. I'm going to jump to old and unfinished business, just so we can take care of the portrait of the graduate. We need a vote for that.
So I think we finally have the finished copy with the corrected language. And, I really appreciate everybody's contribution, parents, students, faculty, and the leadership team. What I appreciate about having one of our leaders talk tonight is I hope what you heard were some key elements of what this embodies, which is while we're talking about the middle school, we're really talking about pre-K through 12. We need to have our kids attending. We need to have our kids here. We need them engaged. We need them to be culturally aware. We need them to be effective communicators. Our two fine young examples this morning. We need them to be civic-minded. We need them to be engaged in their community, whether it be the school or the greater community of Ware or the greater community of Massachusetts or the world. I think you heard Ms. Thompson mention, we don't want kids to be physical with one another, so we need them to be ethical about how they treat one another and how they think about their actions and about how they talk about and take responsibility for themselves, their words, their actions, and how they interact with one another. And most important, I think, is, I kind of went backwards here, but I did it because we need people to be accountable and present, and that is something that it's hard to do. We talked about, we take away their phones for their evening events. It's because we want them in the moment to enjoy each other, right? We want them to learn how to play. We want them to learn how to talk to one another. We want them to see that moment as pure joy. And, I'm getting a little long in tooth, but I can remember events when I was in high school and middle school and certain things that happened. That presence of mind. I didn't have a phone, I can tell you that. But that presence of mind was a gift I didn't understand then. But now I can say, boy, that was really important. That conversation or that event really made a difference in my life. And I would like our kids to have that too. So this is really about our kids' experiences all the way through and getting to that point of when they graduate. And I really want to emphasize, it's not if, but it's when. We need to, an earlier comment that you made, Mel, is that we need to have our kids coming to Ware High School and graduate. Yes. And we need them now more than ever, so that we can have them in our foundation budget, but more importantly so that we can have them with one another and they can be part of their community. And we have some work to do. I don't want to paint any kind of glossy picture here. We have some work to do as the educators here and getting the right people together to make sure that the right instruction is happening, the right behavior management is happening, the right respect is happening, and all of that. But we've got we have the ingredients, and I know that this may seem like it's superficial in nature, but I want it posted in every classroom. I want kids to point to it. I want our teachers to point to it and say, this is what we're working toward today. This is a great example. I want you to show me your best ethical behavior right here and now, and move forward. So it's also something that, frankly, NEAS looks for in terms of, what we can articulate is important for our kids when they graduate from our high school. So, so it's finally here, and I
And
hope.
here it is.
And I thank AI and the visuals.
Just a quick note, 2 of them have a different font in the heading than the others. So the ethical and civic-minded have a different font.
Okay, we can fix that.
I mean, it's a minor thing.
Good catch.
Are we looking for this to eventually replace the pillars at SMK? I know that they do
Yes.
so if we, they probably are very overlapping.
They are
Just
overlapping.
the wording is different.
So on that front, and we have more work to do on this, there's another document called the Learning Community, which is a little more focus on the behavior of learning.
Okay.
Which, as we look, because each school has something slightly different around that front. And so that document is in the works, and we've combined all 3 schools, and we're trying to pull the strands that are the same. So again, that kids shouldn't have to learn the pillars at SMK and something different,
Right.
But we just call them something different. It's not really that we're asking them something different. It's just that we call them something different. So I want to see that we can call them the same all the way through. So that's a little bit different document, and that's coming too.
Okay, cool.
But that builds towards this. This is more about the learner. That's more about the behavior of
Behavior
learner.
of learning, got it. Well, I move that we accept this portrait of a graduate graphic as shown.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Any questions, comments?
I have a comment.
Okay.
So, by the way, it's a very great presentation provided by Ms. Thompson. I don't think, as long as I've been here, I've heard anything like that. So I want to commend you and the principal because I liked what I heard, and if there's continuity through high school, that's going to be, very powerful impact, I think. I was just curious, are you expecting, or will there be similar presentations of the other schools at some time in the future, or is there something about the middle school that you felt like?
They're all coming.
Okay.
So, not the next meeting, but the meeting on the 25th in March, I believe, is going to be SMK, and we might also squeeze in the high school at that time. If not, it's the meeting next, because I know you want the student council, and they'll be bringing their student council as well.
Great, thank you. That was my only comment.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Aaron?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
I for myself. Mike?
Aye.
Mel?
Aye.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay. Some things are sort of gonna intertwine. And it's all centering around the superintendent search.
Yes.
We'll start with the meetings. Town meeting is March 2nd. Anybody planning on attending?
I am planning on being there. I think.
Anybody else?
Let me double check.
I will be there as long as I don't have to work.
Okay,
Same.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
The only thing we've got on is the chiller warrant. March 11th meeting. I believe the plan is to do interviews, correct?
Correct.
And this is where things get a little muddy. We do have 2 candidates to bring forward. And interviews and a decision in one night.
Yep.
And my plan would be to do interviews and discussion except for housekeeping, nothing else will be on the agenda. Housekeeping being the warrants and payroll.
Katie said that she was hoping to have one candidate for 6:30 and the other candidate for 7:45, to give us an hour and then a break,
Okay.
and then the next. She said she was going to reach out to them tomorrow after they were announced tonight.
Okay. And we're giving them an hour each.
Yes. She also said that, Adam said that it was okay for you guys to receive the resumes,
Yes,
like
for just
2 or
those
3
2
days before.
Right.
So you have time to look at them before the meeting.
So those will be sent out by Katie
Yes,
for the 2 candidates.
just for the 2 candidates.
Okay. And that should take care of everything for that night, I believe.
Yes.
March 25th will be a regular meeting, which will have one of both schools.
Correct.
And anything else that comes up on the agenda.
Most likely our school calendar, by the way, just, I want to wrap that up so the parents can plan.
You know, I'm moving a little ahead here. April 8th will be another meeting. Normally, April 22nd would be our next meeting after that. That falls during vacation. So if there's any thoughts, and we can always settle this later, of doing the 29th as opposed to
I
2
would-
weeks in a row.
I would,
We don't have to decide that now. I'm just throwing that out there, though.
so it would be the 29th and then May 6th?
I haven't gotten to May yet, but probably yes. At some point, we are going to have, and we probably can hold off on this, because I got to find out when the town meeting is. Usually it's in May, because we have to have a budget public hearing. It has to be done sometime in April. Probably, if we're looking at anything, maybe April 8th, but that's just tentative.
Okay.
And we need to also schedule a subcommittee meeting for the finance. My thought was maybe, because of schedules, maybe doing it through Zoom,
Okay.
only because it would probably have to be done at night.
Yep.
And that's something that has to be done probably sometime beginning of March,
Yes.
since next week's March.
It's coming.
Okay. So we'll have to reach out with some dates and get a hold of Andy and
Yeah.
set that up. So that way we can come to the school committee at a future meeting before the public hearing and either do a public hearing with telling the school committee then or before then. We can work that out.
Yeah.
Giving it some thought on how we want to present the budget at a public meeting. The last time we put the whole thing up there and sort of went through
Line by line?
line by line.
That was rough. That was a
That
long
was,
night.
that was long. And in the past, sometimes we've done schools and just put the number up. And, how'd you get there? And that's sort of backing into it. So some thoughts on how we want to go through, somewhere's in the middle.
Yeah.
To make it informative yet, because there's close to 400 lines.
Yeah,
It's
I would not
extensive.
recommend going line by line,
We did it for a reason.
Yeah, I'm
and,
sure.
I don't think we need to relive that reason
I
again.
think what most people want to know are what's the staffing pattern, what goals are you trying to reach and invest in, and then what your total amounts are and what's the impact on the bottom line as far as either taxes or assessment, depending on kind of just whatever's happening. So, and we can easily do that in 10 to 15 slides, I would think, given there's not much change.
We do have a meeting with the Finance Committee on March 25th, no, 31st. And we'll
The town.
figure that out.
Yeah.
With the town piece of it.
Right.
And I think that is pretty much everything that's coming up.
When did you say student council was meeting?
We, depending on what's going on in terms of the agenda, we're looking at the 25th of March.
Okay, that being said, March 11th will be the interviews, 6:30, 7:45. We'll start our meeting at 6:30. We'll do some housekeeping, which is basically just warrants and payroll, and then move on to the interviews, much like we did when we did the interim search. And that's everything on the agenda. And then we'll discuss after to decide what we're going to do. And so, in order to do the interviews, we need questions.
Yes.
And
Do you want me
so-
to present the candidates first and then go over the questions?
Is there anything else besides that?
No,
for the
presenting
search?
candidates and questions.
Okay, we can do that. Is announce the candidates because they've agreed to be
Yes.
part of the process. We started out with 4. One got another job, one withdrew, and we're down to these 2 people, and we can publicly announce that tonight.
Great. So the search committee met last night to get down to the final 2. We're very pleased with these 2 candidates. I have a little thing to pass out to everybody. I'll just pass that down. Thank you very much. So our 2 candidates are Nicole Haru and Mark Goslin. Those are the 2 names. I'll read this part, you read that part, and then I'll read the bottom.
Excellent.
Sure.
Just so I'm not reading the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah,
this would be drunk.
no, that's fine.
Aaron, you want to give that to Joe?
Sure.
Okay. That's all right.
Okay, the screening subcommittee is very pleased to present 2 highly qualified finalists for the school committee's consideration. Each candidate brings a strong record of leadership and demonstrated commitment to supporting and strengthening their school communities. While their backgrounds and approaches differ, both individuals offer valuable perspectives and skills that align well with the district's goals and priorities.
So Nicole Haru. The Superintendent Search Committee presents Nicole Haru for consideration for the position of Superintendent of the Ware Public Schools. Ms. Haru currently serves as a Director of Student and Pupil Services and has held similar roles in multiple different districts, including Pathfinder, Munson, and Granby. Ms. Haru has experience in special education administration, program development, and interdistrict collaboration. She has worked with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and has participated in the NEASC accreditation process, including service on site visit teams. Ms. Haru resides in Belchertown and has indicated familiarity with the Ware community. During the interview, she discussed her approach in supporting staff and students, including the use of partnerships, volunteers, and student-based opportunities to supplement staffing and programming.
The other candidate is Mark Goslin. The Superintendent Search Subcommittee presents Mark Goslin for consideration for position of Superintendent in Ware Public Schools. Mr. Goslin has held a range of positions in education, including paraeducator, teacher, substitute teacher, principal, RTI coordinator, interim superintendent, and superintendent. Mr. Goslin has experience with district leadership, including budget management and program implementation, as well as experience with the NEASC accreditation process. He has experience with special education programming, including inclusive practices and a continuum of services based on individual student needs. Mr. Goslin also referenced prior efforts to engage community members through informal, accessible opportunities for communication and feedback.
Okay, now we can move on to questions that we'll have for the team.
All right, can I edit it, like, as we're looking at it, or do I need to edit it on my computer? Is there a keyboard there? Ooh, nice. I'm gonna go over there then. And my computer all plugged in.
What we have is a list of questions that Mel had come up with, and I think it's important that we go through these, decide what we like, don't like, decide what we want to change this, and come up with any additional ones. There are 12 here, and that way I want to get everybody's input, and much like when we did the interim, we all contributed towards coming up with the questions. These questions will be asked of both candidates. Same questions are asked for both sets of candidates, so that, of course, follow-ups are extra, but this is the core. This is what we're going to make our decision on based on their answers.
All right, so question 1 I came up with is, what is a personal quality of yours that you lean on in a leadership role like superintendent?
Questions? Likes, dislike?
I try to think of like how I would answer it, and if I could answer it like super briefly and without a lot of information, then I try not to use it, but I feel like that one you have to delve in a little bit.
Are
Any
we
objections?
seeing all the questions
Well,
and then picking?
yeah, we can come back to it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question 2, how do you prioritize spending when resources are limited while reducing the impact on students? This was a question we asked in the initial interview, but I figured it would be good for the entire committee to hear the answer to that question. Question 3, in your opinion or experience, how does the concept of fairness play out in your role as a leader?
It's going to be very interesting.
Question 4, beyond making sure that we are meeting the compliance requirements, how could you elevate our special education programs? No ChatGPT was used in the making.
No, these are, you're very good. I'll give you a lot of credit in the subcommittee. Like, you're a pretty good question writer.
Question 5, can you describe a time that you had to make, oh, that's supposed to say a difficult compromise in your professional career? Number 6, can you give examples of how you plan to make yourself visible and accessible to the community at large? Question 7, when you come into a new role in a district in a school or district, how do you determine the top priorities and first steps? This was also a question in the initial interviews. Question 8, as superintendent, you will play a role, in establishing procedures and enforcing policies. What is your approach when navigating staff's reactions to change and accountability? Let me just fix that real quick. Number 9, how would you make HR protocols transparent regarding hiring qualified candidates, evaluation tools, discipline, and complaints, etc.? That is a question from the interim interviews. I figured it was an oldie but a goodie. This is also one from the interim interviews. What experience and qualifications do you have to complete the NEASC accreditation currently being done at Ware's Junior Senior High School? As mentioned in the little intros that I put here, they both have experience with NEASC, so we can leave that in or not, because they're going to have kind of a similar answer to the question, but we can also ask it and just hear what they have to say. Number 11, this one's a little wordy. I might need help with this one. Everyone can agree that when it comes to student learning, the responsibility lies with the teacher. Unfortunately, in addition to this hefty task, the logistics, record keeping, and unexpected issues of the day all fall on the teacher. How could you work with building administrators to take things off the plate of classroom teachers? It's a very teachery question.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged. 12. We are part of the Pathfinder, I don't know if the word coalition was the right word. Is the word coalition? Pathfinder group?
Coalition's good.
Coalition's good. We are part of the Pathfinder Coalition, but we want to keep and attract as many students as possible. What are your thoughts on what makes schools attractive to families, not just at the high school level, but K to 12? That's what I came up with.
Let's go back to 1. Discuss the questions one at a time, decide if we want to add or subtract, or decide if we want it at all.
How many questions are we asking?
We
the
had 14
candidates?
at the interim interviews. I mean, literally, I had a meeting right after school at 4:30, and I wrote these between 4 and 4:30. So they were just kind of here.
We had 20 when we did the interim. In the past, we've had, I believe, 15 on the previous one, so 12, 15 is probably about the norm or a good amount.
I tried not to make them redundant. I tried to make them varied in their approach.
So what is a personal quality or is that you lean on in a leadership role like superintendent? Any comments?
No, it's a fair question to ask.
Do we like it?
It's fine.
All right, number one stays. How do you prioritize spending when resources are limited while reducing the impact on students?
It's important.
I thought that was a very important question in our
I don't know if it's
Initial
later on,
response.
but do we want to throw something in there about any experience with building a budget? Or is that further on? I can't remember.
We didn't ask a question about building a budget, simply because, nowadays all superintendents work with a business manager, like Andy. So we didn't ask that because of that question. That, obviously they need to know something about budgets, but they don't need to be like an accountant.
They're not the one that's writing it literally.
Right. So we purposely left that out. It was considered, but we left it out on purpose.
Okay.
Well, what do you guys think? Should we
I
include
think it's
it?
an important question.
Yeah.
No, definitely. All right, two
Which
stays.
one? Two.
We're
Got
on
it.
two. One and two so far stay.
We're on a roll.
We're on a roll. In your opinion or experience, how does the concept of fairness play out in your role as a leader? Explain that one.
When people come to you and say it's not fair, like you've made a decision, you've done this thing, and you talked with your leadership team and you've decided this is what we're going to do, and people come to you and say it's not fair, because from their perspective it's not. That's why it says concept of fairness, not actual fairness. Like, how do you respond when people feel that something is not fair when actually it probably is, just not from where they're sitting?
So wouldn't you want to say or ask
I can
something?
reword it for
Yeah,
sure.
but I'm thinking it's, when something's not fair, or the concept of something's not fair, how do you bring people into your thoughts, or into what you want to try to do? I guess is something I'm thinking about. Or is that what says that?
That's kind of what it says, but I
Yeah.
had to explain it, so maybe it's not the best wording. You could just say, in your opinion or experience, what is the best response when...
Or how would you respond to a concept of fairness?
How do you address the concept? I'm not sure if play out. Maybe
How do you
be more
address
specific.
something about pushback? Or how do you
Okay,
address?
I think I've got it. In your
Okay.
opinion or experience.
Yeah, how do you address the concept of fairness in your role as a leader? The concept
How
of
do
fairness.
you address?
How do you address,
Is that
or
what you
how do
said?
you?
How do you address the concept of fairness in your role as a leader?
How do you
Nice and
address
broad, nice big brush.
the concept of fairness
You can even add fairness in the workplace in your role as a leader.
among staff? How do you address the concept of fairness among staff?
You could probably keep it open-ended like
No,
that.
just leave it
so
like
it'll cover
that. Just
everything.
leave that?
Staff, students.
All right?
3 is added. Beyond making sure that we're meeting the compliance requirements, how would you elevate our special education programs?
I liked the word elevate.
And what are we trying to accomplish by elevating?
We need to not just do the bare minimum. We need to have good special ed programming. Like, it needs to be good. It needs to
They
be...
have to know what our special education programs are?
Yeah.
Or do they know that already?
Say again?
Do they know what our special education programs are, or would they have to know that? 'Cause
They wouldn't have to know, like, we have this many
they'd have to learn
classes
it.
for kids with autism, we have this many
Right.
classes for kids with behavior issues. They wouldn't have to know that, they would just have to understand what makes a good special ed program.
But wouldn't they have to know what we,
Yeah, you need a
what
baseline,
circumstances
right?
we have, what we offer? You know, we don't offer every program because of the size of the school. So,
They still may
Would
have
you need
ideas
to
on
know
how
what we offer to
Generic
answer that
things
question?
Improve. They still may have their own experience and
I think it
ideas
would
on how to
be
do that.
helpful,
Yeah.
but they could just base it on their own experiences. It sounds like both had...
They both have special ed experience.
Special ed experience, so they know the different kinds of programs that
Right.
should be, you know, in a school district,
Well, they
comprehensive
won't be
school
able to
system.
dodge it and say, well, it depends on what they are. I'd have to, my first day, I'll take a look at it.
I mean, I think they probably will start like that if they haven't done their homework and looked at at least our website to see that, what we offer,
Okay,
which is also like a little note to self, if they didn't look at our website and see that we offer programs at SMK and, at the high school and so forth, so. But yeah, no, I like that question, actually.
What if you remove the word hour? How could you elevate? Oh, well, that makes it kind of generic, I guess, and they'd have to kind of genericize and say, well, depending on what it is, this is what I would do.
Well, they both have experience, you said, so they both probably have ideas and ways
Yeah.
that they could improve and elevate the special education program that they might be able to offer to you.
They
within
can
the
talk about what
question.
they've done themselves.
So it's not.
Yeah,
it's-
they both
think it's
have
fine the way
experience,
it
I
is.
guess, right?
yeah.
So, all right, that'll work.
All right, we'll keep 4. Can you describe a time when you had a difficult compromise in your professional career? Isn't that every day, sometimes?
Pretty much.
You have to compromise. It's not always what
Well,
you
I
want.
added the
that you
qualifier
get.
difficult compromise, not just like, oh, you want sandwiches and I want tacos. Let's
want
go with
pizza.
sandwiches. I mean, it's a pretty vague question, and they could really kind of go in any direction with it, which I kind of like about it, because
Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision in your professional career?
well, a decision and a compromise are very different. Like, a decision might be difficult, but not painful. Where a
Well, it
compromise,
could be painful
there's
if you
some...
make the wrong decision.
I suppose that's true. A compromise indicates personal loss versus loss to someone else.
Well, they may not lose as much as whoever they're compromising.
Well, that's what makes it a difficult compromise, is that you have to give up something.
Okay.
Because if you're not giving anything up, then it's an easy compromise. You're like, okay, sure, we'll have tacos, that's fine.
You could say compromise or decision.
Or you can make them 2 separate questions.
I like the compromise or decision, because that gives them, they can go either way with answering the question. Because not all the time it's a compromise. Sometimes it's you make the decision.
Great.
Can you give examples of how you plan to make yourself visible and accessible to the community at large?
It's a great question.
That's a great question.
I'm just going to skip back to that one for a second.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I like it, but do we want to add to, maybe not include the community, the school community, but just keep it to the community at large? Just a thought. I suppose making yourself visible to the school community means you got to be in the buildings and go to meetings and stuff. So I guess that's kind of like,
A job.
yeah, so 6 is good. When you come into a new role in a school or district, how do you determine the top priorities and the first steps?
Again, we asked that question in the initial interview, but I felt like it was important for the whole committee to hear their answers.
It's fine.
Good? As superintendent, you will play a role in establishing procedures and enforcing policies. What is your approach?
When navigating, keep going, sorry.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
an awkward enter
When
button there.
navigating staff's reactions to change and accountability. Isn't that almost like the previous question, like 2 or something, 3?
You're talking about the fairness thing?
Yeah, 3.
I think it's different.
I mean, I like it, but
I guess they could have a similar answer.
could be interesting to see what the answer is, if it differs.
Yeah.
If it could be similar, then what if it differs? Are we good?
Numbers 9 and 10 are copies from the interim interview process.
What experience, how would you make HR protocols transparent regarding hiring qualified candidates, evaluation tools, discipline complaints, etc.? I'm good. What experience and qualifications do you have to complete the NEAS accreditation currently done at WJSHS? Speaks for itself.
Great. This one's wordy, so if you don't like it, give me some feedback.
Everyone can agree that when it comes to student learning, responsibility lies with the teacher. Unfortunately, in addition to the hefty tasks, logistics, record keeping, and unexpected issues of the day, all fall on the teacher. How would you work with building administrators to take things off the plate of classroom teachers?
The reason I put this in here is because we asked a question in the initial interview specifically about teacher burnout, especially among special education teachers. And I thought that this question spoke to that, in that one of the main reasons that teachers burn out is because there's just too much. There's just too much they have to do. And then they go to a meeting and the principal says, okay, now you have to collect the breakfast count every morning. And then they go to the next meeting and they say, okay, now we need to know everybody's lunch order first thing in the morning. You have to poll all your kids in the morning and ask them what they want for lunch. And then you go to the next meeting and they say, okay, you need to have all of your iReady data ready for the meeting tomorrow. So go print everything out. And then you go to the next meeting and they're like, you need to do this. And it seems like every other meeting teachers go to, there's one more thing added to their plate.
Sounds like we need an 8-hour workday.
I'm sorry?
Say it out loud.
You can say it. Coming from the outside, yes, you can say that. Sorry.
Who's adding it to their plate? Just curious.
That was my next question.
It usually comes, so I can only speak to my experience. So things come from the district to my principal. My principal filters out as much as she possibly can and either like puts it on the back burner or straight up says, no, I'm not doing that, or she slow plays it. If she can, she tries to filter it away from the teachers. But there are certain things that she cannot filter away from the teachers. And so those make it to the teachers.
It
And
sounds like that's a
then-
Springfield problem, almost rolling over here into Ware. I don't know that this is necessarily an issue here in Ware.
Maybe the teachers in Ware are not overwhelmed.
Is this
Maybe I'm
an
wrong.
issue that we're incurring, Mr. Wood, by any chance?
Well-
Like that we have so much work and the teachers are so over encumbered with work and things where it's becoming an issue, or?
I mean, I am sure that there are days that,
Absolutely.
everybody in every role
Yeah, I would
feels that way.
definitely not argue that or question that.
I think the kernel of what I would take for that question is, how do we keep our teachers so that they don't burn out?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Go back to the
Back to the
what was
burnout
the original
question,
question, which dealt with burnout and
Yeah, because there's more than just the tasks piece. There's building the culture. There's, looking at, practices of instruction. There's providing professional development, things that the district should be doing, that, a teacher who teaches here for a few years and realizes, maybe we do it, maybe we don't, it's not to their liking, and they leave. But if there was a way that we could get them involved in that planning, for example, PD, would that keep them here? So I think it's more about how do we build capacity among our teachers to want to be involved, want to stay with us, want to, you know.
I mean, we could ask a question about burnout, we could ask a question about retention, like, what do you think the best way to retain teachers is? The question we asked in the initial interview was, teacher burnout is a real problem. How have you addressed this issue, especially pertaining to special educators? That was the question we asked in the initial interview.
Why don't you
I
ask
like
them
that
to give
question.
some examples of what kind of
Yeah.
support they could offer them?
Yeah.
All right, am I putting this question in and then adding something to it, or do we want to start?
I like the question you just said.
Okay.
The shorter and more succinct you can be in your question is better for the candidate, especially if
Because
it's
you'll have to repeat
number
it
12.
several times.
Sorry, it's hard to see.
It is hard to see. I can barely-
Teacher burnout is a real thing. How have you addressed this issue, especially pertaining to special educators? Is that what we're going with?
Teacher burnout, retention.
Do you have strategies to retain teachers? Do you have
Support
ideas?
or support?
Do you have support?
No, do you have
Ideas for
ideas or ways
Oh.
to support or something along
Yeah.
those lines?
I think that,
In an effort to retain them? Are we going with that? Is that too much? Let me make it big so we
That,
can see
that
it.
whole second part, I think, is the question in and of itself.
yeah,
Do you have any
Okay, so take
ideas
that
or
out.
ways to support teachers in an effort to retain them?
perfect. Yeah,
Oh, wait, so just keep the second part?
yeah.
Oh, great.
Perfect.
Do you have ideas or ways to support teachers in an effort to retain
I
them?
forget the word you, do you.
Oh, thank you. Great. 12.
We are part of the Pathfinder Coalition, but we want to keep and attract as many students as possible. What are your thoughts on making schools attractive to families? Not just at high school level, but K through 12.
I don't think Pathfinder's our sole issue. I think building back on the initial part of this conversation earlier in the evening, out-of-district placements as a whole could use some work, right? So how do we mold this question into reducing out-of-district placements as a whole and not just...
Are you talking about like special program placements as well?
Or,
Or just students
School
decision?
choice.
Homeschooling
School
and school
choice.
choice.
School choice.
Yeah,
okay.
Pathfinder, it's coalition. They offer things we can't.
Right.
Therefore, it's like a partnership.
Right, but we still send them our money.
We
Well,
have to pay.
That's
Yeah.
the price we pay
Yeah.
for not having, you
The
know,
town does, yeah. Yeah.
automotive and a few other things, and, you know, carpentry and electricians, and so that's a price we have to pay, but other people are leaving for school choice and for other reasons, and,
Right.
You know, Pathfinder's not the sole reason.
right, so I would take the
Exactly.
Pathfinder out of there, because they're not
Yeah.
our enemy.
No, I'm...
Right.
We're
So-
looking to
Other
and
districts that
attract as many
steal our
students as
kids, I
possible.
shouldn't say steal, but other districts where school choice occurs to,
You could just put
That's-
school choice as an ongoing challenge,
yes,
and
has been an ongoing
what are
challenge
your
and where.
thoughts on making
Yeah.
our school attractive to families?
And we, you know, should flip that and say, how do we make parents and families of other schools make Ware a school of choice, you know?
Right.
I love that.
That's
yeah.
what I'm
Two-part
saying, like,
question?
to make them, to make our
Two-part
school
question or a separate
attractive.
one?
I think.
Oh, gosh, I
in
can't
some
even
way-
see that
In
word.
some ways, the answer is the same, but I think that
There we go.
there's value to school choice, and I want to emphasize that.
Sure.
There's really good reasons why parents choose
Right.
school choice. Everything from they work there, so they want to bring their kids there, you know. So there's lots of good reasons. But we want to change the narrative that people are leaving Ware
Their
Public
place
Schools.
to come to here.
To go there.
Right.
You know, we want people to be making a conscious choice because of something that we can't control. But here's all the reasons why you should stay here. You know, we offer theater, we have a great music program, we have great athletics, we offer, you know, great academic counseling for college admission, we offer, you know, a strong special ed continuum of programming. So, I mean, you know, in the last 2 years, we've gone from having 17 students out of district down to 7. We're doing a fabulous job of building the right programs for our kids. But we could also make that attractive to other families who say, oh, Ware has a continuum of learning for our special needs student, and maybe we want to go in school choice over to Ware.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's all about marketing and how can we market Ware Public Schools to make sure that parents know what we have available. And we want to keep all of our kids that have a good reason to stay here.
All right, I changed the opening line. So
Yeah, I think that covers it. Her revision addresses what you said.
Ware Public Schools is hoping to attract students through school choice. What are your thoughts on what makes schools attractive to families, not just at the high school level, but K to 12?
K-12. And I think that's really key.
All right, do we want to add any more questions?
Can we add a question about why the candidate would like to choose Ware and what they are,
We did that
what their
before.
dedication to
Yep.
leading our district is, what their longevity plan is to stay here, something along those lines. That's not
Why Ware?
the actual question, but like, why are you choosing us?
Yeah. We've done that before, and that was a good question.
That's a good question.
Was that in the interim ones by any chance? Could I
It might
borrow
have
wording
been.
from that? Let me
There's a
look.
piece of it in
I think
there,
it might have
yes.
been.
I have all those questions right here. Hold on. No, there's not one specifically that asks why, like why us?
It's a good closer.
I mean, we could just leave it 2 words.
Just a little bit more? A few more words?
Okay, what do you got, Brian?
Keep in mind, you're at
Well,
12, you're at
what
12,
you were
and
saying,
5
Julie.
minutes in an
What
answer,
was
you're
it?
at an hour.
I put why choose Ware, period, or question mark. What makes your dedication to leading this district and offering longevity to staying here long term?
I think that's our question.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, say again.
Why choose Ware, question mark.
Uh-huh.
What makes your dedication to leading this district?
I'm probably making mistakes, but we're gonna get
That's
there.
okay.
Uh-huh.
And offering longevity to choosing to stay here and where?
Offering longevity. Sorry, longevity?
Yep.
After
Or
that.
choosing to stay here and where?
Oh boy, that's probably really ugly. We're gonna. Your dedication to leading this district and offering, nope, offering longevity and choosing to stay here and where. I feel like that's not worded the best. We just need to tweak it a
Can
little
reword
bit.
it.
What am I missing here?
It's
Hang on.
NNG. It's really
Oh.
hard to read. I have
Lead.
glasses on.
You want
I'm
my
blind.
glasses?
I have glasses on.
Okay.
I still can't see it. Don't
All right.
make fun of me.
All
all
right,
right.
so we just need to reword this last part. What makes you dedicated to leading this district?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you dedicated to leading this district and offering longevity by staying? by staying here and where? And there's something wrong here. I think there's an extra E.
Minus 1E. Nope, go back. And now add an I.
Oh, God. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, no, not quite.
Oh,
Hang on, I
okay.
gotta see it
No,
bigger.
I can't see.
What do we got?
Oh, there was an extra E.
Okay. I hope that did it. Did that do it? Okay.
Oh.
Why choose where? What makes you dedicated to leading this district and offering longevity by staying here and where? Great, I like it.
Any other questions?
There is a question there that gets to this, but just something about parent engagement, that's one of your goal areas. And I don't think there's a question.
There's
that's
community at
very
large,
It's
but that's it.
community at large, but I don't know if you want to ask a question about that, or,
It's not a bad idea.
We're up to 14.
I know.
Yikers.
That's all right.
I mean, we can take one out if there's one we don't
Well,
like.
can we modify the community at large in any way?
That was-
Maybe. Let me go back
Yeah.
to that one.
maybe that's probably the direction.
Can you give examples of how you plan to make yourself visible and accessible to the community at large
Describe your strategy for
Engagement.
and
Engagement.
promoting
Parent engagement.
parent engagement?
Yep.
2 and 1. Let them take it whatever direction they need to.
Engagement. How do we feel about that?
Good.
I like that we didn't add another question, because 13 is a lot.
Is
Do we need to keep 10 when you already went over in both interviews that they are both highly proficient in NEASC?
I mean, I didn't know if you wanted,
It'd be nice for all of us to hear the answer
Can you
though.
hear it?
I mean, they
Since
both,
that is
they both
coming up.
have the experience, but I mean, it
Right.
is an important piece of,
Since that is coming.
they are going to have similar answers. So I don't know that we'll necessarily glean something from it, but I mean, we're happy to ask it if you would like to know.
But it'll make
13 it
us,
is.
it'll make us comfortable knowing that they both,
Hear it from the horse's mouth.
right.
I enjoy that. Kim, how
13
would
it
you
is.
like me to do this?
You good with this?
Does this auto-save?
Okay. Yeah, you don't want to
Okay.
lose any of this.
It says auto-saved online to documents.
Perfect.
It's right there.
So I will send it to you.
Could you just send it to me and Katie, just to save me an email?
Yep.
That'd be great.
Because
Thank
it's
you.
now in my PowerPoint.
Yes, it is in your PowerPoint. Here.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you for your technical skills.
Yes, thank you very much.
Comments and concerns of citizens. Mr. Bateman?
I promise to be brief.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Frank Bateman, I am a resident of Ware. First, I wanted to say thank you for your presentation. That was pretty awesome. And the innovation that you're using with your school and rebuilding your environment. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that. Mr. Wood, I also want to say thank you to you for leaning so forward with the principal position. I know things are going to happen, whatever's going to happen, but I appreciate you trying to lean as forward as you possibly can so that at least next year we start with something that's solid. So thank you. Right around this time when we start to talk about budget stuff, we always talk about money leaving. I got onto the DESI website and I started to crunch some numbers real quick. And although I spoke with you and said that I don't necessarily understand what some of those categories really mean, what enrollment really means, because it's not just who's signed to the school, it's in and outs and all that other stuff. But I will tell you that I appreciate in the last couple of minutes you talked about how our school choice out, maybe that's the wrong term,
Oh, that's it.
right? Our school choice out has drastically declined. And so on this side, we never hear that. I don't know if you guys ever hear that. I don't know if that's a part of your briefing. I don't know if you get that information 3 months before the end of the school year what's to be expected for the next school year. I don't know if you have a subcommittee or a task force that is looking at each person that is not in the school system and why. Because there are valid reasons. But we'll also tell you that just because somebody goes to Pathfinder does not necessarily mean that they're chasing a career. What is the reason that they are going to Pathfinder? Is it because they don't want to be here? Do we capture that information? How can we capture that information? When and where do we capture that information? Because if we've at least narrowed it down that we're not losing a whole lot to other schools. Now again, I think we're talking at the high school level, and I'm not even really sure if this bleeds into elementary and middle school. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But somebody should know. And there should be somebody that's kind of tracking those trends. Maybe you're able to do that, maybe you report that. Maybe it's not even really being reported, I don't know. If it's not, I would recommend that there is a team put together, a task force that looks specifically at each student that's out of district and why. And then to program that. On top of that, the students that we have leaving to go to Pathfinder, you would think that if they were career-minded, they would all leave in the freshman year. I will tell you, that is not the case. You're still getting some that are leaving in the sophomore and junior year. And so it makes you think then, is there something other than career that people are looking at for Pathfinder? How many Pathfinder graduates enter that career? Do we know that? So I just think that as we all fight through mountains of data, maybe that's another contour line on the map that we need to look at. Why are people going to wherever they're going? How much of that can we really affect? Just a thought. I appreciate all the work that's going on. I appreciate the work that's going on with the superintendent search committee. I appreciate all your help with that. I think that we really found our right guy for this process, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple comments. So, for school choice, maybe Mr. Bateman hasn't been around, or you're around recently, but under Dr. DeLeo, I believe that was a part of our agenda item every meeting. We had a school choice report. So that information is accessible, and it's not difficult. I'm sure you, that's number one. So we can certainly add that as an agenda item. And then number two, I think we really need to clarify the thing with the trade school with Pathfinder. We're not in competition with Pathfinder. I think I'm getting a sense that it's like us versus them. They represent an offering, a trade school offering that we do not offer as a trade school. So we contribute to their budget. There was a contract or agreement reached many years ago. So they're like a sister school, or they're a part of the solution of the education that we offer. So I think we have to kind of clarify that narrative. And when students do choose to go there, it's because they could have a midstream decision where they don't want to go right into the workforce, or they don't want to maybe go into college or maybe join the military, and they want to look at the trade. So that has always been the understanding all along. So I don't know if we just need to kind of refocus on that to make sure that they're a solution to the offering to our local students, where we don't offer the trade skill, and they're there, and that's great that they're there, and we appreciate that that's available so close by. I don't know if you had any thoughts into that as well.
Yeah, we're definitely not in competition with them.
Right.
We want kids to be able to make choices about where they are in the path that they want to go
Right.
to get the kind of education they want. It's not economically, it doesn't make sense to be in competition with them either. They're already up and running and doing everything. But what we can do is certainly make sure, maybe a kernel of what Mr. Bateman was getting at, is that, again, they're not leaving us to
Choice
be
out,
at a
right.
different high school, period. And there might be elements of courses through electives that we could offer that would give them the taste, the smattering of what they're really looking for. I'm thinking more of the robotics, engineering, even, looking at accounting, theater, just different electives that give kids truly a well-rounded education, inputs into their decision-making about what they might want to do for a career. Because, you don't have to go to Pathfinder for 4 years to decide to go into plumbing. You can go to an academic high school like Ware High School and go to vocational training to a tech school after that. My son did that and is very successful at that. So
Is there a distinction with higher ed? Like, if you want to go to higher ed, do you usually stay at a school like this, as opposed to if you go to Pathfinder, you're looking to get into workforce on a defined trade sooner rather than later?
So there used to be, I would say 10, 15 years ago, that would have been true. But
Okay.
I think the vocational schools, truthfully, have done an admirable job of really making sure that their students are well-rounded academically as well, and that they also have a choice when they leave their school to go into more of a technical college
Okay.
or an academic college, either 2 or 4 year. So I think they're doing much better at that, which in some ways makes them more competitive now with us, because they offer something to get there that we don't. And that's why I think an academic high school like Ware Junior Senior High School really has to make sure that its electives are strong and rigorous and attractive to keep kids who want I just want to taste. I want to be a theater person for a year. I want to be a robotics person for a year. I want to be an accounting person for a year, and just get a taste. I don't know if that's any one of those are something that I want to go. And I think if we could solidify those kinds of offerings here, I think we'd be much more. I think kids would be less likely to even entertain the idea of going to school choice or homeschooling, which is increasing more and more, because there's online options for kids that are far more
And I think on the school choice, we also implemented a couple of exit interview type of processes, and they really had limited effect, because a lot of families, the understanding we had is once they decided to school choice, they more or less, they made their decision, they moved on. It was really hard to get any input or data from folks, regardless of where they went. So I think we can reinstitute that process if possible, but we definitely had limited effect. And the school choice was it was a major thing on our school committee goals and agendas for many years. And I've just come to see that it's something we can do only through our curriculum and competitive offerings. That depends on the budget. We got to have the budget for it. We don't have one of the largest budgets around. So by default, if a family is looking for increased options, they're going to go with a school that has more budget. So that's one. And then number two, we have to understand who we are actually competing with. It's other schools with similar size. And then we have to market ourselves accordingly, as you said. So, so we have been down that road before, and certainly I think, that was then. Now we have constituents, family members that want to know. That's something we can certainly, implement as a part of our bi-weekly school committee meeting. So we can definitely get the data, and it's also out there, in DESE as well. So.
I definitely want to echo that we are not competing with Pathfinder, and that would be by design, right? Like, as Mr. Wood said, it would be foolish to try to compete with Pathfinder. And something that I've said since the first time I ran for school committee is we need to offer something different that is, very visible and clear to what we're going to offer for our students. And unfortunately, you have to be pretty compartmentalized in what you want to offer so that the messaging is clear, right? Because if we are offering a little bit of this and a little bit of that, the messaging gets muddled. But if we were a language school where we offer all these different languages and we have a really strong social studies program and a really strong history program and we really go to that, then people start saying, oh, where? That's the language school. That's where you go to take all different languages. If we decide to go with the arts, with theater and music and band and all of that, then where's the music school? I've also thrown out early college. Like, if we decide to become an early college school and we make sure that we really differentiate ourselves from Pathfinder with that like, if you know colleges in your future, then where's the place you want to go, because we have partnerships with these colleges and you're going to graduate with this many college credits for free, and then you can move on from there. I just feel like if some sort of task force was created to research these different approaches to say which one the community wants, which one makes the most sense financially, and which one do we think would be, the most attractive to the clientele we're trying to attract. So I just think that if some smart people got in a room and really had some good information to go off of, then we could present something to the community and be like, look, we want to be an early college school. We want every kid that graduates to be graduating with 20 or more credits for free, so that when they enroll in college, they already have an associate's degree. Like, they're halfway done already. They're 2 years through their 4-year education. I just feel like if we had very clear messaging that we are this school, because Pathfinder has a clear message, right? Mm-hmm. We are the trade school. They're obviously working on their academic stuff too to make sure that's built up. But like, if somebody says, oh, what's Pathfinder? People say it's a trade school. People say what's where? They say it's a high school. And if we had some kind of messaging out there saying, no, we are this thing, then when people are Googling online for, what's the best high school near this zip code, maybe we pop up and say we have this program that somebody might be interested in.
Well, I think we also have to, I agree with all that, I think we also have to know, like, what are the demographics of the town of Ware? So, like,
Surrounding area.
What's that?
Surrounding area, too.
And the
So we
surrounding
could
area,
drop
our community. I put 6 kids through the system, and as a family, we already know that our kids were going to higher ed, colleges, et cetera. So, although the offerings may not have been clear, we knew what we wanted to achieve with what was available here and our kids. So, the question we have to ask ourselves as a community is, where is the community going? And Pathfinder is offering education for an existing demand. I mean, the work's out there. So the question is, if we have a community where that's where students want to go, eventually when they get that clarity of what they want to do, that's where they're going to go. So what is maybe we want to put some surveys out. Maybe we want to get a sense of what our local demographics are. Do we have a community, learning community of folks that are looking to send their kids to college, or are they looking to, maybe go to 2-year school? What is it? I know the 2-year school option is a great option, especially when you don't know, right? And that's become a lot more popular. So, one of my kids is looking at that as well, so that when 2 years come, if you structure it right, then they're ready to hit the market, they're ready to serve a real need. But if they decide they want to go longer, they're also positioned to go to UMass or some other receiverships, some other school that will part of the transfer program. So I think if we want to help parents bring that awareness of what these paths are, I think you brought that up earlier. We have to really make an effort to understand that and then put that out there, because I don't know if our community generally knows where they want to go. I mean, things have changed. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of criticism now out there for higher ed. I know, when we went to school, and I went to school, a liberal arts degree was, everybody wanted that, and now it's technical. So, and then there's the mindset that says, well, we don't want to be bound by a society that's just trying to build a workforce. we want the arts, we want the, so then you have that. So, I don't know, we'd probably want to find out like what do folks want, and then see what's available and kind of map it out, and maybe that might change our identity, I don't know, but maybe it won't. But that'll take some time.
The other piece of having really clear messaging is it really speaks to students like myself who are first-generation college students. I went to high school because I was supposed to go to high school. I had no idea. I was the first person in my entire family to go to college. Cousins, uncles, aunts, grandparents, anyone. And no one told me, I know this sounds really stupid in hindsight, but no one told me I had to go to college to be a teacher. I dressed up in 3rd grade as a teacher to be a teacher. I went down to the kindergarten classroom, took kindergarten kids, and stood there with a sign that said Miss Whittam's classroom with kids in 3rd grade. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. No one told me I had to go to college to be a teacher. I know that sounds really stupid. But I went to high school just going to high school. And then I graduated high school, and I was like, I have to go to college to be a teacher? Like, this is nuts. So I'm just saying that if we have a batch of students, however number they are that first generation, they don't necessarily have that support from home saying,
Exactly.
You should take these classes, these look really good to get into a college, or you should do this. And if we have really clear messaging about what we're offering and where, then obviously kids are going to be set on the right track regardless of where they're headed, whether they're headed to college or the other way. So I just feel like we have an opportunity here with a potentially new superintendent and this portrait of a graduate, and we are doing a hard reboot of this district. And if we're going to change the messaging of what we're offering, this is the time to do it. So whether that means making a subcommittee or doing research or doing whatever, I feel like we have to really pounce on this opportunity and not let it pass us by.
You need to decide what direction we're going in.
Yeah, and that has to be based on, obviously, good information. So however we decide to get that information,
We'll decide what we need for information, and then we can go from there.
I think the first generation college model is common. It's a very, I know since, 20 years back, the friends that my kids were friends with, that was a very, very common thing, and we had to, just as friends, we would kind of help them out with that. So I think that needs to come to the school, in the institution, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think guidance is key. Guidance would be the place to do it.
Yeah.
nice.
Just quickly on the subcommittee discussion, I just want to thank everybody that participated in the subcommittee for superintendent search, especially both Mike and Mel, and everybody else that stepped up from the community.
It was a great team.
I just want to thank everybody that took the time, participated. It's something we did on our own, and we did it, and I knew we could do it. We didn't need MASC to lead us through this. And we will find out soon enough if people that have stepped forward to apply, they will be our next superintendent.
That remains to be seen.
But March 11th will be an important meeting.
Mark your calendars, bring your popcorn. See you there.
That being said, no communications, no other business, and nothing else to say, then I make a motion to adjourn at 8:39.
Second.
All in favor, Aaron?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
I myself, Mike?
Aye.
Mel?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Great job.